Good morning, everybody. This isn't actually the presentation yet. This is an introduction to lay a little groundwork for the presentation. Now, in my exploration of fluid identity in dialogue with spiritual archetypes, I've decided to use the Jungian four-part model of the psyche as a basis for experiment. For those who don't know, the Jungian model divides the psyche into self, persona, shadow, and anima or animus, depending upon gender, with the fifth part being the individuated self, which integrates all of the others. As you'll see in the following slides, I've attempted to embody those four Jungian archetypes by focusing on aspects of my own psyche and naming them as performance personae in relation with archetypal figures from myth. I like to think of this as looking at a diamond. It's an interesting analogy in that the diamond is a different shape depending on what angle you look at it from, but you're still looking at the same diamond. Therefore, each aspect, each facet or persona is both itself and shown. Now we'll look at some slides and you can see who they all are. The presentation you are about to watch, created primarily from autoethnographic and imaginal writings and exercises, explores one aspect of fluidity, the search for queer identity, in dialogue with the mythological archetype of the sacred clown, and in the contexts of my varying age, social status, and subcultural interests. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a night on the town? Hail Dionysus, I'm coming around. We'll go out dancing and find my queer clown. Oh Lord, won't you come out and buy the first round? The year is 1984. I'm 18 years old, as thin as a broom handle, and having my first taste of alternative nightlife at the Berlin Club, a little place off King Street West in Manchester. I'm wearing makeup and nail varnish. It's 1983 and I was 17 years old. I had a steady girlfriend and I would catch the train to visit her most evenings. Walking home from the station, I would often see the same older guy. He was maybe in his 50s. He was going home too and he would walk with me and talk with him. Over time, the talk became more suggestive, more sexualised, and then one night he invited me in. I knew exactly what he wanted, and so I decided to give it to him. Yeah, it was rubbish, and I think I should regret it. Should. Tonight is a fetish night at the Berlin Club. I don't really know what that is, but it's certainly an experience finding out. Bugs Bunny is sitting at a table in the corner, laughing and joking with a group of friends. They all look pretty strange, but Bugs Bunny looks the strangest, because he's wearing a white wedding dress. It's one of those huge fluffy confections that looks like it's made of spun sugar. I shout to the barman. He's wearing an ivy leaf headdress. and I ask who they are. There are mythological figures, right, archetypes that many people in the queer community particularly resonate with. They're often quite ambivalent in their morality and their sexuality, and quite clownish in their actions. And Nancy the Spider from Ghana's one of them. He tells filthy stories, right? And Ilegwa from the Yoruba people of Nigeria, he's another. He's a tricksy messenger who opens the door between gods and people. And there are other figures with very similar qualities, but not just Joseph Campbell's official tricksters like Coyote and Loki and my personal favourite Dionysus, but film and book characters like Dorian Gray and the Marquis de Carabas and the Master of Ceremonies in Cabaret and Harlequin as played by Robert Powell. They're complicated, they're amoral, ambivalent. They could be described as sacred clowns. From what I can tell over the noise, the Bugs Bunny crowd has someone called Nancy and someone else called Leg something. Apparently they're quite famous. There's only one woman with them and she's eating an apple. I wonder, since it looks like a wedding reception, who the groom might be. My eyes are drawn to a small, bald man at the next table. He looks grumpy and bored. The woman blows him a kiss and throws him an apple, but he ignores her. Bugs Bunny chooses that time to demonstrate a handstand on the table, and his skirt drops around his ears, exposing his fluffy tail to great applause. The little man isn't cheering though. He shoots Bugs a look as if he's about ready to kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit. In 2011, I was 41 years old and writing a book about the Greek god Dionysus. People would ask me what he's the god of, and I would often say wine, theatre and queer. Odd that I liked that word considering how much it was used to insult me as a teenager, but I like its ambivalence. There's no so queer as folk, as my grandparents used to say. James Hillman says that to have a single identity is a monotheist construct and goes against the wishes of Dionysus. However, Judith Butler has stated that our sense of identity is intimately linked with our sense of gender and sexuality, something we perform habitually, and if we do not, we are culturally unintelligible. Ben Spatz says much the same thing, that gender and sexuality are techniques sedimented into the body. But if Hillman is correct, how does one learn a different identity? How does one know one is a different gender or sexuality? How does one effectively acquire more than one pile of sediment? Meditate on this, I will. Young was asleep at the table, dreaming of Philomen's tale. So Hillman reached over and nudged him, bought him a pint of brown ale. He said, "The gods are all around us. They're here in everything we do." Goffman took off his mask and yelled, "Bloody hell, I think that's true. Look at the people all dancing. There's Hermes, Aphrodite and Zeus. Apollo is dancing with Hera, and Hestia's sticking to Zeus. They're getting drunk with Dionysus, laughing with a sacred clown who's sneaking outside with Eros and pulling their trousers down. Meanwhile, Pollock was fighting with Livenoir over voodoo and seashells and foam. And Goffman wondered if this was backstage or front when Judith Butler entered the room. "You know it's all a performance," she cried. "We've learned to behave in this stead." Ben Spatz came in behind her, took her coat and nodded the head. "He's learned sedimented behaviour, all this sex and gender malarkey." And the others all shouted, "We know! Come in and join the party." So they carried on analysing, pulling myths and theories apart, while the sacred ones danced all around them, the clowns and the queers and the tots. Training in a physical theatre workshop in 2019, we did a camp catwalk and I felt uncomfortable. I explained later that despite my complicated sexuality, I'm uncomfortable acting camp, and thanked them for helping to push me past that point. I'm somehow scared of my queer being real. It's closing time at the Berlin Club. You can tell it's closing time because they're playing Patti Smith's Because the Night, and the lights have gone up. We can see each other properly now, which is a bit of a shock. I look over to the Bugs Bunny table, hoping to catch them on the way out, but that's a shame. They've vanished. It was 2015, and if there had been a plan to my life, I wasn't sure if this was it or not. I was at a party, and a pretty wild one too. I was with my girlfriend, she was 30, and my boyfriend, he was 23. I was nearly 50 and drunk. Not tipsy, drunk. And as the clothes came off, I didn't know whether to congratulate myself for my amazing good luck or hang my head in shame and pretend I'm not an old pervert. I could have sworn I saw Bugs Bunny and Dionysus in the corner laughing at me. It's 2021. I'm 55 years old and I'm worried about backache from sitting at this table too long editing this video. I'm a busy academic, a devoted husband, a responsible dad, and so I'm not wearing makeup and nail varnish. I'm somehow uncomfortable with my queer being real. I look at my phone, at my Facebook page. The background is Bugs Bunny reading the Principia Discordia. And the profile picture, when I find it, is Robert Powell as Harlequin wearing the best costume ever. And I wonder who I'm fooling. That's all, folks. Well, apart from a page of references.